for those of you who've been watching the channel for the past few weeks, you've seen me trying to fit in some CB and ham radio gear, because the idea for the Land Rover, it's a bit of a project, it's a bit of a hobby thing, but the idea was to try and turn this Land Rover into a ham radio, CB radio operating platform, as well as getting outdoors and doing outdoorsy things and just enjoying getting out and about away from the city. So today I've driven out away from the city just to get away from the noise, all the electrical noise and the radio interference that you get when you live in a crowded area. On the previous video I installed solar power, a solar charger and a battery in the back, which I'll use for operating the radio, and a few other 12 volt peripherals. However, what I discovered is that when I'm charging the battery, I'm getting lots of interference, and because I've installed other types of electrical equipment like the tablets, computers, all sorts of bits and bobs, guaranteed that I'm increasing the possibility of the radio putting interference into the electrical equipment as well. So I've driven out today. There's two purposes really. One is to try and tackle or understand the noise and the interference that I'm creating in this environment. And the second, the reason why I've driven to this place, there's a valley just over here, and down the bottom of the valley there's a wonderful soundscape. There's a wonderful place where there's a stream trickling through and birds and nature, and I wanted to go down there and just get an audio recording. So today really is to tinker about on the truck a bit more, look at the interference, look at the radio noise, and then spend a little bit of time down in the valley collecting a bit of some audio samples. First problem to fix though, I noticed that when I was driving I noticed that when I was driving, the box unit which I put in for the radio, which has got the IC7200 in, which is a heavy radio. I really should have thought about it, but the weight of the radio is pulling the box down, and it might have damaged the box or the fixtures that I put on. So I'm going to have a look at that now and see if I've actually, through stupidity, whether I've actually broken the box or not. Right, so this is completely out. It's shaken loose all of the fittings in it, so this is just pathetic really. This has come out, so I'm going to take this out and see if I can try and fasten this back in a bit just to get home, but I may have to run this radio out here, maybe on there, and then do a proper job of fastening this in. I can't drive around with the 7200 in. It's just not made for the weight of that, so it will have to be a sort of plug and play unit probably. Right, also confession time. I'm not an expert. I've got a full license. I'm an M0, which means that I've got some experience. I've passed a few exams. I've got a basic understanding of how radio works and RFI works. What I'm not is an expert on understanding how all of this works and how to deal with all of it. I've got a basic understanding, which means I can start to work through some of the basics of it, which is what I'm going to do today. Right, before I actually start putting any toroids, any of these things onto the equipment, let's just get an idea what it sounds like when this is running. Let me just check on the app that we have got some power, see what sort of wattage we've got being generated by a very cloudy, murky day. Okay, about 10-12 watts. It's doing a bulk charge, but let's see what the radio sounds like. Is that, so that is the, we should have power. Right, okay. Okay, so there's a huge difference when I unplug the solar panel. The noise is almost like a rhythmic noise that goes. So although the noise went from about an S3, an S4 down to an S2, that's a lot really, mostly because it's probably a wideband interference. So in some ways it sort of brings down a lot of the signals, a lot of the dynamics you get on the radio. You lose a lot of that. But when you take out that noise floor, then you get much more of the dynamic. People on S1 and S2 are reachable, whereas with that plugged in, S3, S4, there's no, they won't break through that localized interference. So I'm just going to crudely add lots of these toroid. I'm going to crudely add more of these and the other bits that I've got onto the charger. I'm going to plug one in from the solar charger. When that plugs into the distribution block, I'm going to put one on there, and then I'm going to put one on the power cable coming to the back of the radio and put one of the ones on there and see if that makes a difference. For trying to do something really crudely and quickly, just trying to solve an issue, this provides the ability to it's heavy as hell. These provide the ability to very quickly just wrap and just try and cut down the, just trying to break the chain. What we're trying to do here is just try and break the chain of noise being picked up by all the cabling and getting back into the radio or into the antenna, or back in the antenna back into the radio. So I'm going to try and break that chain by using these chokes. What I also need to do is the radio does need to be grounded. I do need a path to earth off the radio, just to, if there's anything remaining in the system, I want to just try and, you know, get all that down to ground, just try and remove it out of because basically what I've done here, I've built a spaghetti of wires and electrical equipment, and then I chuck in a ham radio in amongst all of that, and then start to fire you know, RF into the system. So it is going to create problems. Right, I'm going to go for six turns through this toroid. Oh my god, yeah, 6. I'll go for 6. See, and yeah. Right, that's that one.
This radio is from Leo, and you can transmit.
Well, do you know what? I didn't think I would make any difference at all. But actually, I'm good. When I edit this, we'll notice a bit more at that point. But I think that's made a huge improvement. Mike 0 Sierra Zulu Tango.
Lima Sierra. 73 ciao ciao QRZ India Uniform 0 Kilo Alpha Hotel Millenia Ward Station.
Mike 0 Sierra Zulu Tango Portable.
CQ20
Not having much joy making any contacts though on 20 meters. Just spent 20 minutes or so trying to chase one or two of the only stations that I can hear. I suspect, looking at the propagation conditions, they aren't that good anyway. It says it's fair on 20 and I'm not really picking that much up. I've only heard one station on 10, so I'm not picking much up on that. I suspect it is mostly propagation that's creating that, creating those poor conditions for me. The antenna does pick up really well. On a good day, I can make contacts on a good day. Today was mainly coming out here and trying to reduce the noise off the solar panel, and I've done that. I'm quite pleased with that. It's not perfect. It's a bit ugly as well. Like a lot of things in this truck at the moment, it's all a bit ugly fitting. I need to add some finesse to it. But just had some lunch, gonna have a flask of tea, and then I'm going to have a stroll down into the valley. I'm going to take some audio recording equipment with me and just get a few recordings down there and head back to the truck then. Mike 0 Sierra Zulu Tango Portable.
Florida 4
Right, we'll leave the truck for a bit and we'll have a walk. Getting down to the valley is lovely, it's that easy. Coming back is, yeah, you get a bit of a sweat on, but we'll be alright. I grew up in some ways a typical council estate. So we lived in built up housing back to back. You know, it was a really busy, noisy environment when I was a child. But when you were I always remember when I was I don't know, 11 or 12 years old, getting out to somewhere like this for the first time. When you go on an adventure, you jump on your push bikes with your mates and you go out, and then you end up in the middle of nowhere like this. And the sound difference, I always remember just that openness, that the sound of nature was something that really captured me from a younger age. And I guess that is, I guess for me, I'm the kind of person that I do like to hear, I like to listen, I like to use my ears. So even with the radio, I love the sound of it. I think for me with ham radio, it was more about the mystery of the sound of the radio rather than making lots and lots of contacts. What I'm trying to do on the channel is to just trying to share the experience, not just the sights, but the sounds of doing things like portable ham radio, or even just getting out into places like this. I brought a radio with me, you know, fair points, but for me, I'm trying to find ways of capturing that and putting that into the videos. And you may have seen on we may have heard on previous videos where I try to concentrate or try to layer the sounds to provide a wider experience rather than just pointing the camera at a radio or pointing the camera at me talking to you guys all the time. I try to blend in visual and auditorial. So I think it was last year I did a video from down here where I brought my small ham radio, an FT817 Yaesu, and I brought a dipole, which is a very simple wire antenna, and I laid the antenna very low here, and I managed to get a contact from inside this valley. And when I came down last time, I thought at that point I'm going to come back here, I'm going to get some sound recordings, because it's just so lovely here. Any noise from outside in the countryside, it's sort of it's deaf, it's dulled down. You can't hear much. We can't hear anything from outside. All you can hear is almost like there's no echo around here. You've just got the sound of the brook, and the trees soak up a lot of the other sounds as well. So it's a very closed in. It's quite an extraordinary sound. So I'm just going to try and capture that on the zoom. I've captured about 5 minutes of audio, also a little bit of footage. What I'll do is I'm going to play about 90 seconds. If you want to just chill out, take 90 seconds out, then yeah, enjoy. Hello, hello gorgeous. Just speaking to a chap who owns a dog, and he says he came past here a while ago and there was a professional photographer with all the tripod and full-on camera equipment, and he got a female model and she was wearing a onesie, doing a photo shoot here, like a glamour shoot, and she actually took the onesie off as he was walking past. And she was a model, so you know she was like in top condition, and just like he just walked past. He couldn't believe it, and it's been back here every day since. Always a good feeling when you see your ride home still there. Right, I'll try and catch my breath a bit. Lovely walk that is. I put this raincoat on because I thought we may get a bit of rain, but we didn't get any. But this isn't that breathable, so I've got a layer of sweat just to deal with now, but that's fine. I think last time I did that walk back up that valley, I was probably about just under 2 stone heavier than I am now. I could tell the difference in that before I would stop halfway and have a bit of a breather and then do the rest, whereas today I did the whole lot in one go and at a bit of a pace. So feel the benefit of that. But I now know how humid the place is. But really enjoyed that. Right, so we're done. I've enjoyed the trip out. I was quite pleased that I've managed to solve majority of the solar power charging interference issues on the radio. I've solved majority of that. It's ugly. I do need to go over it and tidy it up at some point. What I didn't expect to do today was actually find out that the weight of the radio has pulled it all, and the weight of the radio and the shaking in the vehicle has loosened off everything. And that's a big lesson really when I'm fastening anything to the vehicle or have anything traveling in the vehicle with me. The vibration of the truck will undo things. So there's a couple of comments about using Loctite. I'll put the box back on. I'll probably put a locking nut on or some Loctite on it. That should stop it from shaking, but I can't travel with the IC7200 in it. So time to dry off, grab that last bit of cuppa tea and head home. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.